proceed with today's class, and we will continue from where we left off. So good morning to you all once again. And we will start off with the customer-based brand equity pyramid that we have discussed in connection with the customer-based brand equity model that has to be built, which is one of the ways in which brand building happens. So we have relooked, or we will relook quickly at the 4 steps of brand building, which is to ensure identification of the brand with customers, for which you need to build an association of the brand in the customer's mind. And then you will have to look at the second step of brand building, which is basically to establish the totality of brand meaning in the minds of consumers. That is, what does the brand mean to customers? What do they think about it? All of that. The next thing would be the third step, which is to elicit the proper customer responses, right, to the brand, which means you need to understand that the brand will be identified by the customers in the manner in which they perceive it, and they will also tend to have a set of brand meaning perceived out of the brand stimuli that you would have developed for the brand. That fourth step would be to convert that brand response to create an intense, active loyalty relationship between customers and the brand, which means you will need to convert whatever are the positive associations that you've created with the brand and the customer, that is a brand customer connect, and try and create what type of an outcome, which should be an intense, active loyalty relationship, which means that there has to be an active relationship between the brand and the customer. They will need to understand the benefits arising out of choosing that brand or preferring that brand, or buying that brand or patronizing the brand, and ensuring that they feel comfortable, which means the customers would need to feel comfortable to choose the brand or re-patronize the brand the second time or the next time that they think about purchasing or patronizing a service category. And the brand choice or brand preference must be with respect to that particular brand, which means the loyalty aspect. Loyalty aspect would be the tendency to choose the same brand the next time that the brand category has been chosen, despite situational influences which can cause switching behavior. So between the customers and the brand marketers, in their effort to build a robust brand, would need to ensure that finally the all set of activities or the prior set of activities leading to the brand building process must culminate in a process of active, intense loyalty relationship between the customers and the brand. So therefore, we said that what should be therefore the path ahead, or how do the brand marketeers proceed in order to build that kind of a situation, which means we need to understand what are the questions, what are the answers that need to be formulated in order to ensure that the brand customer connect is actually very relevant. So what are the some of the questions? So for the 4 steps that we have discussed before, there are the parallel 4 questions that customers do ask of brands. And these are the questions, if they are actually understood, the marketers can actually build that connect. Number 1 question, who are you? Which means the brand identity, the name of the brand, the way the brand is actually portrayed in front of the customers in terms of the combination of colors, graphics, all of that. Second question would be, what are you? Which means the brand meaning. What does the brand stand for the customer? So customers are asking of the brand. So what do you do? What are you supposed to be doing? What is the benefit that I can perceive or I can get out of the brand? The third question would be, what about you? Which means the thinking and the feeling about the brand, which would mean the objective evaluation, the subjective evaluation, which would create that response from the customers for the brand, which is actually the brand response. The fourth and the final question would be about the relationship between the customer and the brand, which means what about you and me? Remember, this questions or these questions are being asked by customers about a brand, and these are the questions which would be asked by customers not only for one brand, but for each of the brand or the set of brands that they come across. They would be asking these questions, and these are going to be the answers which would be critical for customers to decide upon the brand choice and preference. So what is the fourth question, which is a very critical question and at a little higher level than the other 3? So what kind of brand are you? What kind of association and how much of a connection would I like to have with you? Which means the brand relationship, which is a contemplative phase between the customer and the brand. So which means that the first three questions must be answered in a favored way in order for the fourth question to be answered, which would mean the active intense loyalty that we are looking at, or the intense relationship or the close relationship that the customer expects to forge with the brand, or what the brand has actually been intending to build a connect with the customers. So the first three questions, that is question number 1, 2, and 3, which you see on the screen, need to be answered in a favorable manner before the fourth question really would be asked by the customer for the brand, and for which the answers most likely would determine the continuous loyalty, the active loyalty that the customers would have with the brand going ahead, which means the brand relationships, the emotional connect, the fact that whether the customers love the brand or not. It's just not about liking a brand. It's about many things which will connect the customer and the brand towards a favorable continuous relationship. All right. So let us look at the customer-based brand equity pyramid model in this context. So there are certain levels. It has been depicted in a graphical manner in the form of a pyramid, where the base of the pyramid pertains to the identity of the brand, which means the building the brand salience. All right. So what you see on the left side of your screen is the pyramidal model built with some 6 blocks. The first basic block would be the salience of the brand. The next 2 blocks above that are for performance and imagery. All right. Above those 2 blocks are the next 2 blocks, which are about judgments and feelings. All right. And the topmost pinnacle of the pyramid is about resonance. So how many blocks are there in this pyramidal model? There are 6 blocks. First block is salience. Then second and third is performance and imagery. Right? Fourth and fifth is judgments and feelings. And the sixth block is about resonance. Now, these are the elements that have to go towards building the brand equity with the customers. Now, what are the questions that are being asked by the brand from the customer side? That's what is being depicted on the right side of the graphic that you see. So on the right side of the pyramidal model are the boxes, which are the 4 questions have been put with respect to the aspects that have to be considered for building customer-based brand equity. So first and foremost, what are some of the questions that have to be understood? The first set of question would be identity, right? So what was the question about identity? Who are you? So the first activity that the marketers have to do. So the marketer set of activity are what you see in the pyramidal model on the left side. So brand salience has to be built by the marketeers of the brand. And what is it that is going to drive that process of work leading to building the brand salience? The question that is going to be asked by customers in their mind regarding their connect with the brand, which is, what is the brand identity? So they will ask the customers are going to ask the brand, who are you? The next set of question which is going to come up in the customer's mind is about the meaning of the brand. What are you? What do you really fulfill? What needs would you be able to fulfill? What are the benefits that you're going to give us? So the corresponding set of activities that the marketeers will have to do is on the left side of the picture that you see on the screen, which is in the pyramidal model, things about building the performance. All right, brand performance and brand imagery. So marketers will have to work at communicating, at building those marketing communication tools have to be used in order to communicate to the customers about what is or what are the set of performance metrics which would be perceived by the customers regarding the brand, which means the brand has to be for a product or a service category. Now, what does that particular product or service category offering from that company mean or intend to satisfy the need of the customer? Which means, supposing I'm going to make a soap, I'm a marketeer, and my offering to the market is a cake of soap. Now, I want to put a name of a soap on this particular soap that I'm producing. And I'm saying that this name that I'm going to put on this soap is a brand. And I want to ensure that customers must choose my brand of soap that I'm making from the company every time that the customer thinks of buying a soap. All right. Now, this process of building that brand would mean that first and foremost, I need to identify myself as a brand from the company using a certain name. That is a brand salience. Next comes what type of soap. So that's where I am building as a company. The marketers' efforts are going to create that set of activities which will go towards creating the meaning for the customers relating to answering the question that customers will be asking of the brand, which is, what are you? This is a statement which is an interrogative statement, right? What are you, followed with a question mark, which means customers intend to know the meaning of the brand. What is the brand going to perform? What is the performance of the brand for? What type of functional benefits would I get out of the brand? The second thing would be the imagery. Now, which means the imagery is something that would be the creation at the customer's end, but the stimuli will be provided by the marketers, right? So the type of brand name that you're going to use, the type of functional benefits that you're going to communicate, for example, there could be toothpaste or there could be soaps for different purpose. Now, for example, let us talk about soap, the example that we have taken. Now, supposing this is a personal care soap, which means it could be used for bathing. So therefore, the soap would have certain benefits, right? It could be something to do with the functional benefit of moisturizing effect and cleansing effect, say like Dove. So the purpose of that soap is going to be pertaining to the performance of the soap with respect to not only cleansing but also ensuring that the skin is cared for in a very careful manner. So while using the soap for cleansing purpose, it is not going to damage the skin. But supposing the soap that I'm going to make is not for skin care, but supposing it is for utensil washing. So naturally, the performance of that soap is going to have certain attributes, certain benefits, right? So we are going to, as a marketer, as a company who is marketing this brand of utensil cleaning soap, the performance or the benefits are going to be different from if the soap were to be a skincare soap, right? So therefore, the performance attributes have to be given out, communicated by the brand marketeers so that the customers can answer the questions. While they ask the question, what are you standing for? What is the performance that I can expect out of you as a brand? The answers they will get is from the marketing communication that the company will be communicating regarding the performance of the brand. All right, let me take another quick example from a different category. Say we talk about toothpaste. Now you could have toothpaste, as you've seen in the market, which gets marketed on various factors. It could be tooth cavity prevention benefits, or it also could be about shining white teeth. All right. There is also a possibility that toothpaste, and there are so many examples in the market where the toothpaste are getting marketed on not only the benefits of decay prevention or cavity prevention of the teeth, but also about the freshness of breath and the whiteness of the teeth, which means the toothpaste or a certain toothpaste brand is not only talking about the performance of just cleaning the teeth, right? Or cleaning the oral, the cavity with the effects of the cleansing effect of a toothpaste, but they're also promoting the cosmetic effect of white teeth, fresh breath. Which means what? The performance is a combination of not only the functional benefits of cleansing, but also the additional benefits of a freshness feeling in the mouth. Now, while this has to be conveyed, you would see the different kinds of toothpaste marketing that is happening in the market. You use different kinds of images that are created, models that are depicted using the toothpaste, and the kind of the happiness surrounding the usage of the product. These are the certain things that go into the creatives that will promote the product with its performance to create an imagery in order to communicate to the customers the answer that they are looking for when they evaluate a brand regarding what are you, which means what is the meaning that I can perceive out of you. So the question on the right hand side, the second question, meaning what are you, which customers are asking of the brand, gets answered by the efforts that are made by the brand marketeers on the left side of the pyramidal model in order to promote or to communicate about performance of the brand and the imagery. All right. Hope till now it is clear. If there is any kind of doubt, please do unmute yourself and draw my attention, or you can definitely put your questions in the chat box. So till now, how much or how many blocks have we covered? So we have looked at there are 6 building blocks in the customer-based brand equity pyramid. Out of that, we've looked at the brand salience, brand performance, and brand imagery. That is, we have looked at 3 critical building blocks of the customer-based brand equity pyramid. So the 3 building blocks that the marketers will have to deal with is brand salience, brand performance, and brand imagery. And that is why in prior classes, I have taken you across to see or witness the different kinds of marketing activities that are being done by some of the leading companies that are there in the market today, which is across a range of electronic products or FMCG products or automobile products and all of that. So what you would have seen, and if you recall carefully, these are all examples what you would have noticed over the period of years that they have been marketing their products and services very successfully are the efforts that they have made towards building robust brand salience, continuing to build on the varieties of the products that they bring out on brand performance, and continuously ensuring that the brand imagery is done in such a way that the brand remains relevant to the customers while they are evaluating the brand and seeking the meaning of the products, right? Next, let us come to the 5th building block, the 4th and the 5th building block, which means we are coming to level 3 of the pyramid. All right, can I draw your attention to level 3 of the pyramid? So level 3 of the pyramid means from the ground up. What was the base of the pyramid? The ground of the pyramid, it was a brand salience. Which was the second level of the pyramid? The second and third building block, performance and imagery. What is the third level of the pyramid? Which contains the 4th and the 5th building blocks, which is brand judgments and brand feelings. Right? Now, why are these blocks needed to be addressed by the marketers? Because the next question, the third question, which is going to come up in the customer's mind is about the response. That is, having known that the brand is of so and so name, or it looks like this, the design is like this, then having got their answer that the brand is for this purpose, and this is how the marketers have communicated the brand, the next stage in the customer's mind comes, which is when they are evaluating the brand, they're judging the brand, they're feeling something about the brand, which means they're taking a rational, evaluative criteria of, ensuring that different brands that they're looking at will have to be evaluated on different criteria, and there could be objective evaluations. There can be certain evaluations which will have to be done on a very, very rational basis. And there will be certain aspects of the brand evaluation which will be done by the customers based on their subjective, perception, based on the feelings that they perceive out of looking at the brand or considering the brand. So the response of the customer to the question about what about you is about what are the initiatives that the brand marketers can make in order to influence the judgments and feelings for the brand. All right, which means you would have to, as a brand marketer, give out different kinds of information, aspects which will help the customer to judge your brand for its own merit vis-a-vis the competitive brands that are available in the market. Then there would also have to be certain aspects to relate with the feeling connect of the brand and the customer, because finally you would want the customer to not only think with his or her head, but also feel about the brand in a positive way, which means feeling with the heart. So there has to be a dual decision making which will have to happen, which is not only the rational decision making for the benefits of the brand, but also about what the brand really stands for in terms of the benefit, and which is about the judgmental aspect about considering the brand, but also about what the customers really feel. So in many times what will happen is, just like how customers are human beings in a social context and they build relationships in their social context, the relationship between customers or brands are also similar to a large extent, similar to the kind of relationships that people build with other people in their network. So it will be the brand which will get favored by a customer depending on whether they perceive that the brand is actually trustworthy, It is a brand which is reliable. It's a brand which is worth being associated. It's just like if you have a friend and you would like to be seen with friends and associates who are worthy in the society, whom you like, you admire, you respect, and definitely they are reliable and trustworthy. Nevertheless, with all the other qualities, the same kind of a brand customer connect happens where customers perceive the brand personality to be such that they really are worth being associated with. Because nobody, that is, no customer, being a human being, would like to be cheated by a brand, would like to be misdirected by a brand, or would not like to definitely associate with a brand which is seen to be not favorable in the social context, right? So in this criteria, what happens is a lot of the brands which are in the higher end segment or luxury brand related, brand communications really focus on the other aspects of the judgment and feeling, which says that maybe the brand or the product might be of a higher price, but that connotes quality. So there are brand communications wherein the objective of the brand would be to particularly communicate certain benefit with respect to the particular objective that the brand has. So if it is a luxury product or a luxury service, the brand will ensure that in all its 4 P's of marketing, the entire communication about the luxury nature of the brand or the sophisticated nature of the brand will get communicated. So, for example, if you're going to talk about a brand which is rugged in nature, you would have brands which would communicate that from the beginning in terms of the naming and the depiction, the graphics, the designing, all of that. All right. So, what happens is you are looking at building the judgment and feeling. So, what is the next level? Which is the next? Which is the next level that is there of the brand building? It is the sixth block. Which is the sixth block in the brand building process? It is about the resonance factor, right? So what is building brand resonance? Brand resonance would be about building the relationships, which is on a continuing basis of the brand with the customer, which means what is the relationships that can be forged with the brand and the customer on a sustainable and a continuous basis. All right. So finally, what happens is you can go to the sixth building block of a brand, provided the other 5 blocks beneath that in the customer base brand equity pyramid are fulfilled. Which means what are the 6 blocks that we have looked at? The first building block for the customer base brand equity would be brand salience. The second and third block pertains to the second level of the pyramid, which is to do with performance and imagery, right? And the fourth and fifth building block thereafter is the third level of the brand equity pyramid, which deals with judgments and feelings. And finally, we come to the tip of the pyramid, which is at the pinnacle of the pyramid, which is also the fourth level of the pyramid, which is a sixth block, which is pertaining to brand resonance. And what are the activities that the marketeers will have to do? The marketeers will have to do activities pertaining to influencing and determining the robust sustenance of the building blocks, that is the 6 building blocks inside the pyramid that you see on the left side. And they would be driven, that is the marketeers will be driven and motivated by the questions that you see on the right side of the pyramid on your screen, which are the 4 questions pertaining to the identity, meaning, response, and relationships. And how are the questions going to be answered? First and foremost, these interrogative statements, that is the questions are given, that is for the first question, which is at the base of the pyramid, pertains to the corresponding base of the pyramid is the brand identity. Questions being asked here is by the customer, and the questions or the question is, who are you? So the question being asked is, who are you? Look at the base of the pyramid. The corresponding level in the pyramid is to build a brand salience. So when customers are asking about who are you, the brand salience is the efforts that are going to be made by the marketer. Let us look at the second question of the customers. What are you? Which is about the meaning of the brand. So when we are asking about the meaning of the brand, the next corresponding level is the performance and imagery that has to be done by the marketeers. Let us look at the third question of the customers. What about you? What about you will be answered by the corresponding efforts that marketeers will make at the third level of the pyramid, which is to create those activities to influence the judgment and feel. And finally, the fourth question of the customers would be about relationships, which is what about you and me? And pertaining to this fourth question that the customers are raising is the fourth level of the pyramid, which is the pinnacle block of the pyramid, which is to build the brand resonance. Right? So we can put all of these sub dimensions of the customer based brand equity pyramid as you see on the screen, which is the brand salience will be what you see at the base of the pyramid pertaining to category identification and all those efforts that marketers will make for need satisfaction. Let us look at the second level of the pyramid. So what do you remember from the second level of the pyramid? Quickly have a look at the two building blocks there, which is the second and third building blocks, performance and imagery. So what should marketers look at when they are looking at the performance aspect? They have to look at what are the primary characteristics and secondary features, what are the product reliability, durability, and serviceability, what are the service effectiveness and efficiency and empathy, style, design, and price. So you can have an understanding that these are all pertaining to something to do with the 4 P's of marketing. Let us look at the third block of the pyramid, which is the third block that is in the second level of the CBB pyramid. The third building block here is about imagery. What are the things that the marketers will have to do about imagery? They will have to creatively think about the user profiles, build user profiles with a mix of research and also explorative research and conclusive research, and also have an understanding about the type of brand imagery that has to be created. Understand and depict the purchase and usage situations, right? That is what I was telling you about the soap and the toothpaste example, for example, that when you want to communicate about the whiteness of the teeth and the decay prevention benefits, then you will definitely portray it in a different way, like you see in the case of different brands like Close Up. But for example, if the main benefit is to be about the decay prevention or about the sensitivity of the teeth, you can look at the different kinds of advertisements or the creatives that have been created by brands like Sensodyne. If you talk about soap products, for example, the marketing activities and the promotional activities that are done by brands like Lux versus something like Dove, which talks not only about the cleansing activity, but also about the moisturizing activity and all of that. So user profiles, purchase and usage situations, personality and values will be depicted by the marketeers thinking about the kind of image that has to be created by the brand. Last but not the least is the history and heritage and experiences that influence the creation of such kind of imagery, right? So what have we looked at till now? We have looked at performance and imagery. The second and third blocks in the customer based brand equity pyramid, which is in the second level of the CBB pyramid. All right. Now let us proceed to the third level of the pyramid going up, which is to address the building blocks of judgments and feelings. So students, what are some of the criteria that the brand marketeers will have to think over and implement? They will have to think on the judgment side. If you see, they will have to communicate information pertaining to quality, credibility, consideration, and superiority, because that's going to help customers judge whether this brand is better than others. Is it worth spending money, time, effort, and even, for example, the mindset of trying to patronize this brand, leaving out others? Right? So this is about the judgmental aspect. What is the next block in the third level? The feelings aspect. So what are some of the sub-dimensions of feelings that have to be considered by marketers? It would have to be about how the marketers can creatively think about communicating warmth, fun, excitement, security, social approval, and self-respect. All right, so different brands will have different functional purposes, different benefits, different imagery, and this is where the feelings will be built between the brand and the customer. That is, the customers will have to be influenced in order to feel something about the brand. So the marketers will need to decide, do you want customers to have a warm feeling about the brand? Do you want customers to have a feeling of fun with the brand? So you can think about brands like, for example, Pepsi, or you can think about athletic brands like, Nike, or some of the entertainment brands. And the purpose of this brand is to, communicate with the customers that aspect of getting fun out of being associated with the brand. And there are so many other examples. Feeling of excitement, sincerity, social approval, self-respect, which means these are the things which will be perceived by a customer with respect to a brand. And the brand marketeers will have to ensure that a particular aspect will need to be pulled in, and the efforts will have to be there in order to market the brand appropriately, so that customers really elicit, or they really come up with those feelings towards the brand in such a manner. Right now, what all of you need to keep in mind is that it is not necessary that all these dimensions will have to be driven forward in the same manner. For example, if you're talking about Pepsi, a brand like Pepsi, it's not important that along with fun also you need to exude as a brand the feeling of warmth and excitement and security and social approval. No, you might choose one or two of these critical feeling aspects, and you might want to promote that. But for example, a brand like I was talking about ICICI Prudential Life Insurance, or life insurance company, or banking companies, they might harp, or they might emphasize more on the security piece, right? That if you invest with us, your money is secure, your financial investment is secure, the financial security of your loved ones in the long term is secure with us. So that brand may only emphasize security, and they may not need to, and they don't need to emphasize certain things about fun, because the brand is standing for something else. So you need to understand, the marketers will need to identify what is that unique selling point about the brand, or what is that unique connect, that meaning that needs to be conveyed from the brand house to the customer. What needs to be communicated from the brand's side to the customer? It is like a dialectic process, a dialogue that could be there between the brand and the customers. When the customers are going to ask certain things about the question, what about you? Which means the customers would need to feel good about the brand, confident about the brand, would need to feel some human feelings about the brand towards the brand, in order to have that connect. Right? So we are at the third level of the CBBE pyramid, which is third level, having covered the the five building blocks of the customer-based brand equity. And that helps us then to proceed further to the pinnacle of the pyramid, which is the fourth level of the pyramid, pertaining to the question that is going to be asked by customers about the relationship between the customer and the brand, which is to do with building brand resonance. So building brand resonance is the responsibility of the marketer. So what are some of the sub dimensions that the marketer has to consider when building the brand resonance? One of the factors would be the loyalty that you would like to command with the customers. What kind of active loyalty, intense loyalty do you want customers to have with the brand, such that every time that the customer needs, wants, and would have to go in for a repurchase or an upgrade of the product, or would like to patronize and repatronize the service, what would help the customers choose the same brand time and again? So what is the loyalty that is going to be commanded by the brand from the customers, based on all the sub dimensions that have been thought of in the prior levels, which is brand salience, judgment, feeling, performance, imagery, all of that leading finally to the loyalty. The second sub-dimension would be attachment of the brand with the customer, creating that kind of a connect between the customer and the brand. The next would be the community. You would like to have a community of brands, like you know about the Harley Davidson group. They used to have a Harley owners group. And so there could be brand communities that can be created, wherein brand patronizers or people who own the brand really come together and share feelings, views, and kind of remain as a community because they are patronizing a particular brand. So finally, what happens is there are a lot of opportunity arising out of the developments in technology, social media, presence, which can help in terms of building engagement between the brand and the customers. Now, how the brand does it, in what innovative ways, in what unique ways the brand is able to command that or be able to build on that, is something that is left to the innovative or the unique methods of plans that can be thought about by the brand marketeers for their brands in certain markets for certain customer groups, right? So what you see, therefore, to summarize, are the different activities, strategies that would have to be thought about in order to think about the different subdimensions of building the customer-based brand equity model. All right. The next thing is to do with the salience dimensions. So hereafter, you will get in your PPT the details I have also shared with all of you. This slides hereafter will describe in details what we have discussed about the 6 building blocks of the customer-based brand equity pyramid, and what are the explanations of each of these blocks in terms of the sub-dimensions that have to be thought about. All right. Are you able to be in sync with me till now? Is there any doubt? If there's any doubt, you can just put it in the chat box. If you're okay with it, that also you can put in the chat box. It's everything is fine. So kindly put your responses in the chat box, students. If it is fine, everything good to go, just put in the chat box, all good. And also, if you have a doubt, you can put it in the chat box as well. So going forward, what are this? So thereafter, I said, after this in your PPT, the reference material, you will have descriptions about the salience dimension. So what is about brand salience, the depth of brand awareness, and the breadth of brand awareness, right? This is the base of the pyramid, right? What am I talking about here? I'm talking about that the subsequent slides are going to describe what are the descriptions or the descriptive aspects of dealing with brand salience, the bottommost level of the brand pyramid. All right. So we look at the brand salience, we look at the depth of brand awareness, we look at the breadth of brand awareness, right? What is depth? Ease of recognition and recall by the customer, strength and clarity. Breadth of brand awareness would be about purchase considerations and consumption consideration, right? The next thing that would be there is about depth and breadth importance, which means the product category hierarchy, which shows us not only the depth of awareness matters, but also the breadth, which means everything has to be considered, right? In order that the brand should be not only on top of the mind in terms of the mind share, but it also should be considered by the customers that they are actually very beneficial at the right place at the right time. The next thing would be about thinking about product category structure. So what is product category structure? You need to understand brand recall, saying that product category structure would be how the product categories are actually organized in the memory of the customers. The next would be about performance dimension. So what is performance dimension? The primary characteristics and supplementary features about the brand. What does the brand stand for? It's about some product benefits. So what are the product benefits? What are the main things that the product is satisfying in terms of the need for the customer? And then there would be additional features. So for example, soap would mean, for example, something like a brand of soap like Lux. You're not only talking about cleansing capability, but also the fragrance of the soap, right? If you're talking about Dove, for example, it's not only just about cleansing, but it's also about the moisturizing effect of the soap, and of course the fragrance, right? So some of these things. The next performance dimension would be about the reliability, that the product does not break down, the product works and it gives value for money. Durability of the product, that is how long the product is actually going to serve its economic life. And the serviceability of the products, in cases there are products like electronic products or there are complicated products which can be, if they break down, can they be serviced? So the importance of the service center comes in such marketing of such brands. Service effectiveness, which means, is the service going to be effective? Can it solve the problem the first time round? So normally it is said that customers would tend to re-patronize a brand irrespective of its complaints and its kind of not functioning, provided the marketer takes the initiative to respond to customers' calls for problem solving or rectification, and they really take the effort to kind of solve the customer's problem reliably and effectively the first time around. All right. And the second would be the service efficiency and the empathy. Like I told you, there are studies which are done in the market which shows that for automobile marketing, for example, the serviceability of the automobiles on a periodic basis determine the brand valuation or the brand perception over the long term, which means that it is just not important how much you market the brand per se, but the service stations or the service centers where these vehicles are serviced and their quality outputs matter in the customer perception towards perceiving whether the brands are reliable, the brands are performing as per their work, and whether these brands are going to be patronized in the future. All right. The next thing about performance would be the styling and design of a brand, provided the brands are tangible, and more so for electronic products and products which have technology being involved in their creation and for the usage. The last but not the least would be the pricing, which would be the performance dimension, because people are going to invest financial resources and would like to see whether the brands are actually giving value for money. So there would be different aspects of risk perception that customers can have with respect to the money that they pay, the functional risk, the physical risk, the performance risk, and all of that. So people are going to look at the pricing versus the performance. Next aspect would be the imagery of the brand. Which is the imagery of the brand? The user profiles, which means the user's demographic and psychographic characteristics, the age, gender, income, occupation, lifestyle, all of that. The actual or aspirational user profile that you want to build about the brand, the group perceptions, the popularity of the brand, all of that, right? The purchase and usage intentions, that would mean about the channel. What type of channel are you going to use to market the brand? Specific stores, if any, and the ease of purchase. What time of the day or how frequency is the purchase going to be made? Is it going to be made on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis? And if so, knowing the frequency of the purchase, you would like to communicate to customers about where they are able to get the brand, the location and the context of usage. Next comes the imagery, which is the personality and the values, which means what is the personality that you're going to communicate about your brand. And brand personality, students, is a huge area of study. So brand personality is about creating the personality traits and the values which will meaningfully have the connect between the customer and the brand, which means what? How much of personality traits, like for example, sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and roughness do you want to communicate about a brand? All right. So let me give you a few brands and you think about them and tell me what kind of personality do you think they evoke in the mind of the customer. So, for example, you take a brand like BMW, Audi. What kind of personality traits do you think they evoke among the qualities mentioned on the screen? So, BMW, Audi, is it sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and roughness? So, many customers would come back and say it is about sophistication because it's a luxury kind of a brand, right? Say Dell as a brand, the next brand, Dell, or having an ingredient branding like, for example, Intel Inside. What do you want to connote? You want to connote that this brand will function really very efficiently because it has a certain type of a processor, right? Now let us talk about some other brand. All right. So certain other brands could be brands like Nike's brand, which talks about some roughness, athletic people using the brand, or you talk about many brands in the carbonated beverage space. It talks about roughness or talks about excitement, right? Red Bull, for example, what kind of imagery or personality does it connote? A kind of excitement, kind of adventure, right? So the personality traits that you want as a marketer about the brand to be created in order to forge that connect between the customer and the brand. So what are some of the personality traits that are there for you to make your brand have that personality trait inside them in order to appeal to customers? You could make your brand very sincere. Like, for example, banking products, as I said, or financial products, most of the time we would try to create that kind of sincerity element such that, yes, your money and investment is very precious and we are here to do that. So that kind of sincerity appeal. Excitement appeal could be for some other brand, competence could be for another brand, sophistication could be for luxury brands, and roughness could be for some brands which need to focus on the ruggedness and the durability. Next is the aspect about history, heritage, and experience. So you talk about nostalgia or memories that the brand can create in terms of the brand customer connect. Now let us look at the judgment dimensions, and this is where we will close the class with. The judgment dimensions is something to do with brand value, which is value and satisfaction, the brand quality. So quality comes from what? Value and satisfaction vis-a-vis what you're really trying to satisfy. So quality would be those characteristics that help the product or service fulfill the need that it is aiming for. And when brand quality has to be communicated, the value that comes out of the brand and the satisfaction that comes out of the brand is something that has to be considered in terms of marketing. Now, what is satisfaction? Satisfaction is the judgment that customers are going to evaluate basis what they have expected out of a product versus how they perceive the product to be, right? Let us look at brand consideration, which means the relevance of the brand to be considered for customers' use. Next, brand credibility. Credibility of a brand in terms of whether it is sounding or it means what it really stands for. So how is credibility going to be determined? It has certain sub-dimensions, which is the expertise of the brand and the company which owns the brand, the trustworthiness of the brand, that it will not fail and it will not cheat, the likability of the brand, whether the brand is personable. Like just like when you go to a doctor and you expect the doctor to be credible, you not only expect the doctor to be highly qualified with multiple degrees, but you also want that the doctor is going to say what he says and means what he says, and he will do as he says and promises, and will never harm the patient. In the same manner, the credibility of the doctor also is dependent on the third aspect, which is the likability. Does the human quality, that interaction between the customer, interpersonal relationship between the doctor and the patient, should be such that the patient likes the doctor? That kind of a human connect has to be there. Otherwise, no matter how many degrees you may have, and no matter what would be the claims of trustworthiness or claims of doing a successful surgery or successful treatment, people will not believe what is being told to them or being shown to them unless and until they feel that emotional connect, saying that, yes, I like this person. So that likability also enhances the credibility, right? Next would be the brand superiority, which means the differentiation of this brand versus the competitive offers, which means is the brand superior than other brands in the market, which would also tend to mean whether you can gain a competitive advantage over others. All right. So these are some of the judgment aspects. We will continue with the next set of dimensions under CBBE in the next class. So till then, I would request you, while we do a quick recap of what we have done till now, and in this class, I would request you to quickly go through the content and also through some of the reference materials that I have sent, as well as have a look at some of the globally acclaimed brands, the current listing of global 100 brands by Interbrand, and for example, the brand marketing done by HUL or ITC, Unilever, Nestle, all of these. Have a look at that and see how the same CBB model is being executed by different companies, different brand marketeers in different ways. So what have we covered till now? We have covered about the importance of ensuring that brand equity is built with the customer in mind. We've seen the importance of customer-based brand equity. We've also seen what goes into building a brand. We've also seen what are some of the questions and the corresponding activities that have to be undertaken so that the brand customer connect is built up. And that brought us to the customer-based brand equity pyramid, wherein we saw a pyramidal model with 4 levels and 6 building blocks, being the task of the marketeers, who will need to be guided by the 4 questions that customers typically ask of a brand. And these 4 questions would correspond to 4 levels in the customer-based brand equity pyramid. Each level has a distinctive set of activities that need to be done, which is depicted in this next picture with the title Sub-Dimensions of CBB Pyramid. and it talks about different activities to address the 6 building blocks individually uh, uh, in their respective content, which collectively exhausts the entire set of activity that goes towards building customer-based brand equity. All right. And while you look at each of these blocks, there are several dimensions, several examples out in the market, which showcases how these have actually been implemented by different marketeers in very, very innovative and very unique ways, which also determines their success and the failures of those brands which did not really live by those norms, and which led to the emergence of new category brands also, right? And thereafter, I have indicated to you that in your reference slides, you will have the subsequent slides thereafter explaining what are the sub-dimensions of CBD. And we have gone through the salience dimensions, we've gone through the depth and breadth importance, understood the product category structure, all of that. And then we've understood the performance dimensions, the imagery dimensions here. And finally, we went to the judgment dimensions, which is the fourth block of the model. And we've looked at the different judgment dimensions. And we said we will stop at that and continue with the feeling dimensions in the class hereafter. So till then, students, I will stop the sharing of the slide here. If there's any doubt, you can let me know. Otherwise, have a very happy Deepavali and wish you a safe festival. Enjoy yourselves and